Ghost stories, once told over campfires and s'mores, are now spread by websites and social media. Tales begin innocently enough, perhaps with a young man and woman sharing a blissful life together. But inevitably, something goes horribly wrong, because that's what you need for a good ghost story. Arizona has its share of eerie tales involving accidents or allegations or arguments. Or it could be something as simple as an unrequited love that leads to the sort of terrible outcome often necessary to produce a ghost and the story that goes with it. Unlike their subjects, ghost stories never die. New life injected with each post of a ghostly encounter, perhaps accompanied by blurry photos or fuzzy video. While many stories are as ethereal as their spirited inhabitants, others are linked to specific people and occasions. Here are a few of Arizona's most notable ghosts. Starting with haunted hotels of Arizona. The first we'll be speaking about is Prescott, and the story of Abby Beer and Noble the cat. Ghost stories rarely involve cats, perhaps because of their reputed 9 lives. That's one reason the tale of Abby, Noble, and Room 16 stands out from the spirited pack. The legend goes back to a time not long after Prescott's Hotel Wyndham opened in 1917. As more Easterners sought mining jobs and the dry desert air, Prescott began to boom. The Wyndham's 31 rooms and 16 bathrooms offered the upscale accommodations sought by new residents. Among the inhabitants, as the story goes, were Abby Beer and her cat Noble. There are variations to the tale. In one, Abby and her husband lose ownership of the Wyndham due to unpaid taxes, but are allowed to stay for free. But the gist is the same. It was the 1920s, and Abby suffered from a devastating and potentially fatal disease. Tuberculosis is the most often named culprit. One day, her husband, referred to only as Mr. Beer, departed with a promise that he'd be back soon with her medicine. Abby never saw him again, nor did anyone see Abby or Noble again, until someone pried open the door to room 16, which had been locked for days. Inside were Abby and her beloved cat, their souls having departed the earthly realm. Or have they? Over the years, it's been reported that various items in room 16 have been rearranged while the room was empty. Guests also said they've heard purring and scratching coming from the closet, as if Noble still searches for her other 8 lives. The second hotel we will be talking about is in the city of Jerome. Of the many reported ghosts in residence at Jerome's former minor hospital, now the Jerome Grand Hotel, few get as much attention as Claude Harvey, whose death has become more notable than his life. Harvey was a maintenance man at United Verde Hospital, a 5-story structure that loomed over the town from a lofty perch on Cleopatra Hill. Little is known about him, other than that in 1935 his body was found at the bottom of an elevator shaft. Some stories note that his head was crushed. Others say he suffered a broken neck. Either way, it's said the death was ruled accidental, which may explain why Harvey has lingered in spirit. When lights go on and off in empty rooms, Harvey is the main suspect. Same is true when sounds of a clattering elevator echo through the hallways, even though the car is parked at the top of the shaft, its power off. Other spirits are believed to be miners who succumbed to injury or disease, as well as a few nurses. The third hotel we will be speaking about is in Bisbee. Many famous people have stayed at the Copper Queen Hotel, including Julia Roberts, John Wayne, and First Lady Nancy Reagan, but none of them have rooms named after them. Julia Lowell does. Not bad for a lady of the evening whose spirit is believed to linger in room 315, where she reportedly took her life. According to legend, Lowell committed the cardinal sin of her profession, falling in love. When her client insisted love never was part of the transaction, Lowell hanged herself. Men staying in room 315 have reported seeing a woman dancing at the foot of the bed, as well as hearing disembodied whispers in their ears. There have been reports of her figure formed of mist or smoke along the third floor, where she often did business. Now that I've spoken about a few of the haunted hotels of Arizona, I'd like to move along to the University of Arizona. The University of Arizona is an accomplished research university with a heavy focus on astronomy and physics. The college campus is also haunted, and several students have told tales of their terrifying experiences while attending school. Despite being an institution driven by science, even the most rational students at the University of Arizona can't explain away the strange supernatural occurrences that plague the college. At least 8 buildings and structures on campus are known to be haunted, each with its own unique set of ghosts and horror stories. Old Main is the oldest building on campus and has been haunted from the very beginning. When lead construction worker Carlos Maldonado was found dead with a knife in his throat. His shadowy spirit is often seen walking around Old Main at night. Centennial Hall, the university's concert venue, may be the most haunted building on campus. The venue is haunted by 2 ghosts, a man and a woman, neither of which are very friendly to guests. They both try their hardest to give the theater patrons a good scare. Maricopa Hall was the site of a brutal murder before the building was erected, and after the university became established, a woman committed suicide in the building where she found her man with another lover. Bear Down Gym was named after the last words of student-athlete John Button Salmon after being gravely injured in a car accident. A ghost wearing Salmon's jersey has been spotted multiple times in and around the gym. Let's talk a bit more about Old Main. After being chartered in 1885, the school got to work on building up the campus. Old Main was completed in 1891 and has served as the face of UA ever since. During the construction of Old Main in the 1880s, the building was the site of a brutal murder that set the tone for the next century. Carlos Maldonado was the lead carpenter charged with supervising the construction of Old Main. The story goes that Tucson was either going to be the capital of the Arizona Territory or be the site of the territory's first university. The legislature granted the land to Tucson to begin building the school, while Phoenix was chosen as the capital. Quite a few locals were angry with the decision, so they targeted the construction workers of Old Main, specifically Carlos. Being the hard worker that he was, Carlos often slept at the construction site. One morning, his workers came in to find him sitting in a chair with a knife sticking out of his neck. The ghost of Carlos has been seen ever since, especially by the school's maintenance workers. The running gag is that the strange creaks and groans in the structure happen when Carlos's spirit is mad. Multiple workers claim to have seen Carlos in the attic of Old Main, where he appears as a hazy, shadowy figure. Some have attempted to catch a photo of Carlos, but he moves too quickly. One worker entered an upstairs hallway, then took off running when all the faucets and water fountains turned on simultaneously. Now let's talk a little bit more about Maricopa Hall. Maricopa Hall is the only all-female dorm at the University of Arizona. Before the university was even built, the land now occupied by Maricopa Hall was the site of a bloody duel between two dance hall entrepreneurs. Two Tooth Gertie and Diamond Lil had a bitter rivalry in the 1860s and decided to go out to the desert to settle their grievances once and for all. Two Tooth Gertie dealt the first blow by slicing open Diamond's face, who responded by shooting Gertie between the eyes with her hidden Derringer pistol. Two Tooth Gertie cursed Diamond Lil with her last breath. Diamond later helped the townsfolk of Tucson raise money to buy the land to build the university. 50 years later, in 1919, a ball was taking place at the newly built Maricopa Hall. A UA student who was attending the ball was on the lookout for her fiancé. After searching the building, she finally found him, in bed with another lover. Distraught by the discovery, the woman ran up to the second floor, which was still under construction, and hung herself from one of the gas pipes in the bathroom. Students often hear women arguing and screaming in the middle of the night, along with the faint echoes of gunfire. These are said to be residual memories of the infamous duel. The apparition of the young woman who committed suicide has also been seen around the hall. She is said to be wearing an all-white dress, and students claim to hear her sobbing or crying in the halls in the dead of night. Let's move on to Centennial Hall. Centennial Hall is the performing arts and concert venue at the U of AZ. In addition to being a beautiful theater, it's also home to two very malevolent ghosts. One is a young Spanish gentleman dressed in all black. He's often seen cackling like a lunatic, scaring the guests and staff of Centennial Hall. He may also be the culprit behind the phantom piano that plays late at night. He tends to randomly move furniture around the building at night. The ghost of a woman in a Victorian dress has also been seen around the theater. Though she looks like a lovely young lady, she's actually quite malicious. She is said to appear during performances of classical music and has attempted to push guests down the stairs on multiple occasions. The two are said to have died in a duel during the Spanish colonial period. The story goes that two men were competing for the attention of a pretty young lady, and so they met up on horseback to settle the matter. The two men charged at each other, and the woman got in between the two in an attempt to stop them. She was trampled to death by the two horses. One of the men was then thrown from his horse, landing on his head and dying on impact. No one knows why they're so mean. Perhaps the man was mad at his loss, and the woman angry at losing her life over something so stupid. The last building at UA we're going to talk about is Bear Down Gym. John Button Salmon was an athlete and the student body president in the early days of UA. Well liked by his peers, his life came to a tragic end when he was involved in a car accident that severed his spine. Among his last words were, "Tell the team to bear down." Students and faculty took his loss pretty hard and named the newly built gym after Salmon, calling it the Bear Down Gym. At night, students and staff have reported seeing a young athletic man hanging inside the gym during the after hours when it's supposed to be locked. The man is said to be wearing John Salmon's jersey. In 1915, an actual wildcat was brought to the school to serve as the university's mascot. They named him Rufus, Arizona. Unfortunately, Rufus died a year later. Rufus was said to live in the Bear Down gym, and late at night, some students and staff have seen a wildcat inside the gym, snarling before it disappears. Some even say the ghost of the wildcat roams around the campus at night. Hello there, my lovelies. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I apologize for being gone for pretty much a year. Life is crazy, as we all know, in this strange time we live in. So I decided to pick up where I left off with this 50 States Spooky Stories series, and I really enjoyed recording this. Unfortunately, I am still a year later dealing with the same audio issues that I dealt with a year ago. I don't know what's going on, but no matter what audio recording software I try to use, it cuts in and out and stops recording midway through, so the recording process is pretty tedious as I have to continuously stop and start constantly, but you know what? It's okay. I enjoy making videos and I would like to get back into it, so I very much appreciate whoever watches this. And I do apologize to my friend, Agender T. That is at least what your Instagram used to be a year ago. I believe you have changed it, but I still want to shout you out for drawing me some fan art. It's beautiful, and I would love to hear from you to see if you are still okay with me posting that in a video, or perhaps underneath this video. I would really like to thank you for that publicly, as I never got the chance to, but I just don't want to post it without your updated permission, as I know a lot of people's art changes a lot over an entire year, so I don't know if you still want that shared. But anyway, so if you see this, just let me know in a comment underneath or a DM on Instagram if you would still like for me to shout out your art, and I'd love to do that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope that I can stay more consistent this year, for the rest of this year anyway, with uploading videos, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye bye.